Good morning and welcome back to the channel. And today's gonna be a pretty long day and I'm gonna take you with me every step of the way. I'm right now in Brussels. It's about 6:40 in the morning and I'm about to catch the number 51 Van Halen bus to the Gare du Midi, which is a train station here, and I'm gonna take the 740 Flixbus to Paris. It's about a 2-hour and 40-minute drive, but I'm gonna be going to the Eiffel Tower today. The reason I say it's gonna be the longest day though is because then at 11 p.m. I have a bus that's gonna be 9.5 hours from Paris to Toulouse in southern France. Well, that was a relatively quick trip, about 7-8 minutes from stop to stop. Now I'm here at the Gare du Midi, and I've got a little bit of time to kill, probably about 45 more minutes or so before the bus actually leaves. I'm gonna go find food. And I've got some Neuhaus chocolates, the original pralines, and I'm gonna use those on the bus to give me a little bit of energy for when I get to Paris. So I wasn't intending for this, but I'm having sort of a Forrest Gump moment here before the bus with my chocolates. So I found my spot for the next 3 or 4 hours until about noon today, and they're like airplane seats. They're not very big, and there's no divider between the seats, so you're pretty close to the person next to you. This is Europe after all, so crossing into France, we didn't even have to stop. In some places, France and even Belgium before look a little bit like Iowa. A little while later, the traffic outside of Paris came to a near halt near the Charles de Gaulle airport, where we made a quick stop before moving on into town to the Bercy-Seine bus station. Et voila, I'm in Paris, if even for a short time. And by short time, I mean only about 12 hours because I'm heading to Toulouse later tonight. So I'm really only here for 2 things, because it's a good place to catch other buses, and I'm going to the Eiffel Tower finally. You might be asking yourself why, if I'm in Paris, am I only spending 12 hours or so? And it's because I've been here before a couple of times and just never been able to see the view from the top of the Eiffel Tower. I spent 11 days here in 2014 after university, and I knew a lot more then about the area, the museums, and I'll tell you a little bit about why that is here in a few minutes. So all I've really got to go do now is take my bag to the bounce lockers here in town.
Eventually.
That took a bit longer than expected. I actually had to walk about a half an hour from the original place I intended at Bercy, and I had to walk all the way to Gare de Lyon. And now, basically, it just sits there for a few hours, then they close at 10, so I have to be back by 10 to pick it up. And it cost me $7.50. Now the next real challenge is getting used to the transit system again here in Paris, which I've got to book a ticket, so I've got 10 tickets to ride around the city, which should be enough for today, but it's still kind of confusing again. Every city's transit system is a little bit different, and they always have their own way of doing things. Well, I've gotten myself to the Place du Concorde, which is about halfway between the champs-elysees and the Louvre. It's near the Tuileries Gardens, and I'm just gonna kind of walk around here for a while. I have a few hours, so I can see the Eiffel Tower in the distance, and it's a cloudy day so far, but that might actually make for better pictures. Last time I was here in the winter of, I think it was 2018, there was a giant Ferris Wheel here in the Place du Concorde, which was pretty cool. So a couple of things that define the Place de la Concorde in the history of Paris are that this is the site where Marie Antoinette, King Louis XVI, and Maximilien Robespierre during the revolution years in the 1780s and 90s were executed. And besides having 2 beautiful fountains here, it also does have Egyptian obelisk right there, and that's actually from Egypt. All around this plaza too, they have different little, I don't know what exactly they're called, but they kind of look like huts with little doors and stuff with statues on the top of them, and each one of them is to represent a major city here in France, and they have the name of the city on the top of it. Getting back to what I said before about spending 11 days here in 2014, That is because during university I had two professors that did a joint class called Paris and the Art of Urban Life, which went through the history of Paris as a city from Roman times all the way up until the modern day, with things like art history, music, and a bunch of other different things built into that. That gave me a huge knowledge base when I came here the first time, and so many things I wanted to explore. But I've been here 3 times now and I still can't figure out everything to do here. There's just too many things. Also, if you're at the University of Iowa or looking to take that class, if it's still available, I have no idea. I'll try to find out and put in the description here how to find out about it and what teachers teach that. From the Place de la Concorde, you walk down the champs-elysees and there's gardens all around here and these big rows of trees over the boulevard here. This is the famous street that everybody knows because a little further up past the Arc de Triomphe, there's a lot of shops and stuff like that of famous brands. But it's a beautiful area and it's actually pretty quiet right now. There's, I don't know, a lot of people here, but it's pretty spaced out. You really do never know what you're going to find every time you come to a city, because that is a Stranger Things the store. And I do love Stranger Things, but I don't know if I'd enjoy going to a store with it. So even though I'm not visiting the top of the Arc de Triomphe today, I definitely recommend it. I've done it in the past and it is an excellent view of the city. Probably not as good as what I'm going to see from the Eiffel Tower, but the Eiffel Tower is in all the pictures and everything. So if you want like the quintessential Paris pictures with the Eiffel Tower as a backdrop, you can definitely get them from there. Another pretty crazy thing about Paris is they have public toilets like the one behind me, where you just push the button, go in, push the button, the door closes, and then when you're done you push another button and the door opens again. It's self-cleaning and they're usually pretty gross though. So that flame behind me stands just across the Seine from the Eiffel Tower and is where Princess Diana was killed in a car crash in 1997, so they've marked it with kind of an eternal flame. So the area under the tower is a lot different than when I was first here in 2014. You could actually just freely walk under the tower and then get an entrance ticket to go up. But I didn't go up at the time because there was a really long line, and now you have to like check bags and stuff, kind of like airport security, and then you can walk around sort of freely underneath here. And I've got to find out where I can go to get the elevator up with my ticket. But it's a very impressive structure, and right now it is 133 years old, so it's exactly 100 years older than I am, and it was designed by Gustave Eiffel's team and then erected from 1886 to 1889 by Eiffel himself and his company. And honestly, it's still impressive to this day. It's not the tallest structure in the world anymore, but at the time it was almost twice as tall as the second tallest structure, which before it was the Washington Monument. So in Paris at the time, they actually put it up to a vote, essentially, by a council of what they should actually put up here. So this was just one submission by a bunch of people from the area, and honestly, it was the most innovative and it was the most different of the time. There was another one that was supposed to be sort of a stone tower, sort of something like you would see in Pisa or in Rome or Greece or something like that, but this won out. By the time Eiffel actually won the contest, he was a world-renowned architect already, having done the internal structure for the Statue of Liberty and the bridge, I can't think of it now, in Portugal, in Porto, that's very famous. I'll put a picture of it here right now with the name. behind me you can see the Champs de Mars, which is originally a military training ground. That's why it's named after the Roman god of war, Mars. I think the École Militaire used to be right over there, and then this used to be the practice ground over in front. I have no doubt now that this is the best view you can get of Paris anywhere in Paris that doesn't have the Eiffel Tower in it. Well, champagne and caviar is about 62 to 67 euro here, and for a very small glass of champagne, it's about 17 euro. So $17 roughly, which is not worth it at all. So from up here, it's super apparent how Haussmannization actually shaped the city itself with the wide boulevards and trees everywhere. And then another really cool thing is it's even more apparent that you can see all of the blocks of like buildings and stuff that Paris is known for from above. Les Invalides is a large complex originally intended as a hospital and retirement home for war veterans, but today houses some museums, the National Cathedral of the French Army, and most notably is home to the tomb of French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. If you take a look skyward, you can get a glimpse of what saved the tower from being demolished after its first 20-year permit: radios. Because having the tallest structure in the world at the dawn of radio is pretty useful, even playing a role in both world wars. Eiffel even had an apartment at the top where he famously met Thomas Edison, who at the time demonstrated the improved talking phonograph, a sound recorder that used wax cylinders. Just a quick suggestion, but if you're ever going to the Louvre, go early or get a multi-day pass. It's massive. It's such a crazy good view up here. I could stay here all day, but I've probably got to go down at some point and get some coffee. Actually, maybe I could get coffee. Nope. Looks like I can only get champagne and some macaroons here, maybe. Even though I said that it wasn't worth it to get macaroons at the top with a little bit of champagne, I decided that it was worth it to get a little wine here and a sandwich because I am starving and kind of hungry. And you know what? It's a good view, so I might as well. I might grab some macaroons on the way down. Not the best, but it'll do. Having already experienced the lift, I decided to walk the rest of the way down. So I don't really have to take the stairs down because I have an elevator ticket, but I'm definitely going to because it's awesome. Recommended. So we started on the second level, then we went to the third, which is the top, and now we're on the first level, which is the largest level actually, with a restaurant and stuff here. Honestly, I knew there would be a restaurant, but I wasn't prepared for how many restaurants and other shops there seem to be in the first level. It's almost like a mini mall. I guess when you've had one of the world's biggest attractions in your backyard for over a century, you find a way to monetize it. This brasserie looks pretty upscale and probably have to have a reservation well in advance. And it's probably pretty expensive, so I'm not even gonna think of, whoa. Yep, the clear one is what caught me. This definitely wouldn't be a short trip to Paris if I didn't come to the Louvre to check out the spectacular courtyard here. This actual pyramid here was only built in 1989 by I.M. Pei. Well, not built by him, but designed by him. And they thought, just like the Eiffel Tower, that it was going to be a monstrosity and that it wasn't going to fit in Paris, and now you wouldn't even think about the Louvre without the pyramids on the sides there. But the rest of this courtyard is only open because the front over there was once a building, but it burned down. So this was the home of royal residences at one point, and this would be the courtyard where they would receive people from all over the world. Funny story, one of the first times I was here, I actually did go to the Louvre Museum, and I had a meal there, just right up there along the, I don't know what you would call that, but on the second level, the balcony there, and a pigeon decided to join me, and the pigeons really, really love the food, so they will take pretty much everything if you let them, and they'll sit at the table with you. The Ferris wheel I mentioned earlier is still here, but it's moved just down the street to the Tuileries Gardens, closer to the Louvre. And the last thing on the night before I start to head back down toward the Seine to get my bus is a meal in Montmartre underneath the Sacré-Cœur. A lot of people come up here at night to have drinks on the hill. They even sell drinks at the top and all around here. They've got buskers and everything. You can probably hear the Careless Whispers cover in the background. So other than the spectacular church behind me, it also has one of the best views of the city. Montmartre is one of Paris's most famous districts. The name meaning the Martyrs' Hill refers to Denis, the Bishop of Paris, being martyred by the Romans in the 3rd century CE. During what's known as Paris's Belle Epoque, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, it was known for cafes, cabarets, and public dance venues, and would see artists like Modigliani, Monet, Renoir, Degas, and even Picasso and Van Gogh, just to name a select few, set up studios here. And even to this day, remains a popular spot for painters and sketchers. In the end, I decided against a meal in Montmartre, in favor of making sure I was close to the bus station, but I did find a trendy area called Bercy Village just down the road, where I had a few beers and grabbed a quick baguette before what turned out to be a pretty uncomfortable nearly 10-hour bus ride to the southern city of Toulouse in the Occitanie region, arriving around 8 a.m. I'll be staying in Toulouse for the next week to finish video projects before visiting Andorra and then starting the Camino Frances in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and think I deserve your subscription, please click the subscribe button below, along with the bell icon to be notified of all my new videos. Thanks again for watching this video, and never stop adventuring.